Everybody, my name is Chris and I'm from the Dynamic Drum School, and this is week 7 of Drum Set Jam 6. This week we're going to teach you how to create your own fills and write them out on the music notation. So hopefully last week helped trying to memorize a song. Now hopefully you know where the important parts of the section are to create your own fill. Where we had the fills in the last section, basically it's only in the chorus and then in the tag. And there's a small fill in the verse 2 for 2 of the levels. But the idea is to have fun with this and just improvise, jam where you know the fill should be. Try to find a sound that you like, and then you go back and you try to write it out. I found with my students, a lot of people don't write out notation. They just, it becomes too overwhelming. So this is very simple. We're just one measure fills and a half a measure fills. This will help you in the process. You'll start to know where on the drum notation which drum is, and it helps your ear. It helps you hear something that you're playing and then gradually try to figure out how to write that out. Then you can ultimately, the ultimate goal is to hear a great fill, a great beat, and then be able to figure what it is and write it out. So that's what I'm hoping this will help you with. So let's get started. All right, so let's take a look at level 1. The verse, there's no fill. On the chorus, let's skip ahead to there. The last measure of the chorus, the 8th measure, we have a fill on beats 3 and 4. We have 4 8th notes, 3 and 4 and. So we're going to give you 2 examples. One is going to be where you can move each 8th note around to a different drum. So it would be 3 and 4 and. Another one would be to try 4 8th notes on one drum. So we'll try that on the floor tom. 3 and 4 and. So another way to do this that's really fun is play the full measure, play half a measure of the drum beat on beats 1 and 2, and then see if you can improvise, stick to 8th notes, but try a different drum each time or a different fill each time. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to try a group of 4, group of 2 and 2, and then I'm going to try some combinations of one drum, 1 1 and then 2 2. So, or sorry, 1 1 and then 2. So let's try that. We'll do it a little bit faster. 1 2 3 4. 1 and 2 3 and 4 and 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 1. So I really liked the one that was going opposite, 3 and 4 and then I liked the sound of the ones where you go back and forth, 3 and 4. That sounds really cool. So that's the idea, though, is just have fun with it. Stick to just the 8th notes for now and see if you can come up with a sound that you like. Once you play something that you like, try to figure out how to write it out. And just because it's 8th notes, then you're just going to look at which drum it is. And if it's too hard to do that, just stick to maybe just one drum or just 2 drums. So now let's skip ahead. We have the next section, which is the verse 2 with no fill. And then we're going to skip all the way to the end because there's no fill in the outro either. So the last section, the tag, we have that full measure of 8th notes and then the last hit on the 1 where you go like that. So we're going to keep that the same, but we're going to change the measure before. So one cool way to do it is keep half of the measure the same and then try a group of maybe 4 or a group of 2 and 2. So I'm going to do the first example is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then another example would be to play just 8th notes around the drum. So it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to play the measure before, the full measure of the drum beat. Then I'm going to try to play a different fill each time just to experiment and see what sounds I like. And then I'm going to end on beat 1 and then I'll just repeat that a few times. So show you what I mean. 1 2 3 4. 1 and 2 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 3 4. 1 and 2 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 3 4. 1 and 2 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 3 4. 1 and 2 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. There was a couple that I really like the sound of. I like the one where I went. I like the one too where you kind of going back and forth and then ending on the unison eighth notes. So just have fun with it. That's the whole point of this, is to start to connect what you're playing with what it looks like on the music sheet. So just try the different combinations, see if you can come up with the sound you like, and then try to figure out how you write it out. All right, have fun with it, and we'll see you at the lesson. All right, so let's take a look at level 2. The verse, there's no fill. We'll skip ahead to the last measure. We have groups of 16th notes on beats 3 and 4. We have a group of 4 and then a group of 2 and 2. So it's 3 E and a 4 E and a. The first way I'm going to try this is I'm going to keep to only 16th notes, but see if I can come up with another combination. So an easy way would just be to flip it, do a group of 2 and 2, and then a group of 4. So I'll go 3 E and a 4 E and a. So try that experiment, see if you can come up with any other groups. You could do a group of 4 and 2, 2 and 4, or you could do alternating groups of 1, so meaning, and then a group of 2 or a group of 4 after that, and then flip it. Do the group of 2 and then a group of 1. So you see there's a lot of combinations. Another way, this is really fun, is I'm going to give you just 4 examples that you can try. 4 different rhythms, and then we'll apply it to the fill. So one would be, you'll see these above. We got 2 eighth notes. Number 2 is a group of 4 sixteenths. Number 3 is a group of 2 sixteenths and an eighth. Number 4 is an eighth note and 2 sixteenths. So I'm going to do on number 1, on beat 3, I'm going to do number 1 and then number 3. So we've got 2 eighth notes and then a group of 2 sixteenths and an eighth. And what we'll do is I'm going to play it just on the snare, and then we'll see if we can move it around the drum. So it would be 3 and 4 and. Then you can try moving it, maybe keep the 3 and on the snare and then the 4 and on the floor tom. 3 and 4 and. The last way would be to break up the rhythm from just one drum. So we'll show you one more example with that. It would be 3 and 4 and. So that's pretty cool. We've got 2 rhythms that I just created easily, 3 different fills that all sound pretty different, you know. So you could do that. That's an easy way to do it. Try different numbers. You could try, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, whatever combination you want, and then just kind of move it around the drums. The next one, we're going to skip to the verse 2, the last beat on beat 4. Right now we're using, I wrote number 4. I wrote the 8th and 2 sixteenths. So try a different combo. So you could try number 1, number 2, or number 3. Then let's skip ahead to the end, the tag. We're going to keep the last hit the same on the 1, but we're going to change that measure before. So right now I have the linear fill where I have 3 on the hands and 1 on the foot. You could see you could keep the same kind of pattern. You could maybe do 2 sixteenths on the hands and then 2 on the feet, or you could try 2 sixteenths on the hands, 1 on the foot, and back to the hand again. That would be a cool combination. Another way would be to use these 4 rhythms. So you could use, an easy way is to just use each rhythm for each beat. So for beat 1, we use number 1. For beat 2, we'd use the 4 sixteenths. Beat 3, the 2 sixteenths and an eighth, and beat 4, the eighth and 2 sixteenths. So I'll just break that down on the snare for you first. So it would be 1 and 2 E and 3 E and 4 and a 1, and then still end on the 1. Then you could try to move it around the drums. An easy way is just to move each beat to a different drum. So 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and 4 and a. That's an easy way. If you don't have that, just come back to the snare. Then you could try to move that around to different drums within that. Keep the same rhythm, but instead of going 1 and on just the snare, maybe put it on the snare and the small tom. 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and 4 and a. Something like that. Then it sounds totally different. So experiment, have fun with it. The best way is just to jam, play the beat, and ultimately play with the music and improvise. And then you can just start this way with these basic rhythms, and then whatever you like, try to figure out how to write it out. So if you have trouble with that, you could always record yourself and then listen back at a slower speed. So have fun with it. We'll see you at the lesson. All right, so let's take a look at level 3. With level 3, I'm hoping that you, if you're able to play these, especially like the chorus beat and the fill and the outro, that you're experienced enough to be able to improvise and come up with your own fills. So what I'm hoping is, I don't really want to tell you any examples. If you're having a lot of trouble, go check out what I said in the level 2 section. Basically, what I recommend to my students, if you're at this level where you can jam, you can play pretty well, and you can improvise, the best thing to do is record yourself, and because usually a lot of students, they can improvise, but they just have no idea how to write it out. So a great way is to definitely record yourself with the song, listen back, and if it's too fast, get one of those programs. There's apps now, but there's a great program called Transcribe where you can slow. I think it's about $40. You can slow it down to more than half the original speed. So it's pretty great. You can, and this is pretty easy because you're only going to do a beat, a fill for one beat, a fill for two beats, and then a fill for a measure. So it's not that much. So you could start easy, do the verse 2 first, the beat 4 fill, just jam, play something there, and then try to write it out. Then it will get a little harder. You're going to do the fill on the end of the chorus on beats 3 and 4. Same thing, play it, jam a bunch, play with the music, then record it and listen back. And the ones that you like, then try to slow those down and try to figure out how to write it out, and then do the same thing for the last measure. And if it's really hard to just play whatever you want, if it's too complicated, then do what I did in level 1, where you just pick some basic rhythms that you know how to write out. And then you can try to stick to those, play them, and then you can figure out what you're doing. So this is a great way, because ultimately that's what I want to be able to teach all my students is it's so great to be able to hear something that you love. You don't really know why, it just sounds amazing to you, and then to be able to slow it down and figure out, write it out. A lot of times you realize it's not as hard as you thought. It's more the way that amazing drummer plays it. It's how they play the feel. You'll start to notice dynamic range. They're not just playing all the same. They may be adding like flams or drags or whatever. So try it. It's really fun. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you at the lesson.